Bears lose to the Patriots, a shocking loss at home. Waddle not only wanted a win, he wanted style points.
Of course I did.
With a win.
It's a crappy Patriots team that came to town. You're not only supposed to beat them, you're supposed to beat them convincingly to make everybody in the building feel better.
When I texted you when it was like 16-3, I think, and I said to the group, I said, if it was 16-3 Bears, we would have been pissed. At that time.
Yes,
we would have been like, not good enough. Yes. Not good enough against the Packers, let alone get it against the Patriots, let alone losing by that margin at the time.
I would have never guessed that happened.
Me
that was like, of all of the outcomes that have occurred so far this year, I think that one's the most surprising. Now, again, the Hail Mary, how that happened, okay, that singular moment.
Yeah.
But to lose 19-3 in the fashion that they did at home against a bad New England Patriots team, that's got to be, is that the low mark of this regime?
I think this is the low mark since, unless you guys can think of something.
Well, this is based on expectations as well. As we were told, this is time to win time.
Now, of course, you're going to say Cody Parkey, okay? Because
I mean in this regime.
Well, no, I know you are. I know. Yeah. But I'm going with just regular season losses as far as ugliness goes, okay? And I'm going back as far as the 50 burger in Green Bay.
That's a long time ago.
Trustman, that's the 14th season. Do you guys have it because after that, they were sort of in rebuild mode under Fox. Then there was the 18 season, and then they sort of sputtered in mediocrity in 19 and 20 under Nagy.
So this is the worst regular season loss since?
I think since the Packers 50 burger. That's
how many years ago was that?
14 in 2014. Remember, weren't there back-to-back 50 burgers?
Yes, the Patriots and the Packers. So we're saying this is the worst regular season loss, all things considered, based on expectations and all other issues. This is the worst in 14 or 15 years. What would you say, Meller?
Send us one if you've got one.
Can you think of one off the top of your big brain?
The Justin Fields debut
against Cleveland?
Yeah, they got their ass kicked. That's certainly true, but we weren't anticipating them. Remember, they were a really good defense, Cleveland was.
Yeah.
No, I know.
That's
but I feel like that.
This wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, this is a bottom 5 defense.
They were favored at home by 6.
Yeah. And they didn't score a touchdown. They gained, what was it, 140-some yards total? I mean,
it was a failure across the board.
And for all reasons. Your quarterback was sacked 9 times. You didn't score a touchdown against a bad defense. It was a game where you had to have a good performance, trying to put the last 2 losses in the rearview mirror. I think it was this was a defining loss.
Oh, yeah.
For this organization, this coaching staff, everybody involved.
Well, it may be the one, I don't know. I think we're always going to cite the Hail Mary game as the game that Matt Eberflus got fired, but this may be the one that solidified it.
Yeah.
If, in fact, he does. And if they don't fire him at the end of the year, then we're all in trouble. Because this will repeat itself next year.
Oh, yeah.
So all you're doing is making the same mistake over and over again.
Well, that's the essence of as you detailed, that's the essence of this franchise.
Yeah, they've been given the playbook.
They are the definition of insanity. They are football insanity.
They've been given the playbook on how to fail. And they've said, don't do this. Other regimes have failed because of these mistakes. And Ryan Poles goes, I'll do it anyway. I think I could get away with it. I'll draft a quarterback and keep the coach, even though the coach isn't that spectacular. I'll make it work. No, you won't. I don't need to draft offensive linemen. I'll make it work with these guys.
Which quarterback is, can you point to one that is being developed worse at this point? And again, this is where the conversation gets really puzzling to me, because coming out of the Jacksonville game and coming out of the bye, I was expecting the continued improvements and the development. Like, I would say Bo Nix is getting better guidance right now from Sean Payton, right? Drake Mays played pretty damn well in his situation.
I was surprised by how good he looked.
And Jaden Daniels is obviously having a fantastic rookie season.
Yeah.
So
even yesterday, they put up a lot of points in defeat.
So, I mean, like, yes. Do I think Caleb is the most talented overall of all of them? Yes. But is he getting the worst development treatment of all of them? Like, I don't think a ton of Bo Nix. I've said that a bunch, but Sean Payton's done a nice job.
All right, I want to take a bunch of calls here, and then I got to tell you, towards the end of this, we unleashed the new parody song contest. I'll tell you details about that and where we're going to be out in Mundelein coming up on Wednesday. So a lot to get to. 312-332-3776. The story of the day is Matt Eberflus met the media. He tried to meet Cap and J. Hood, but the phone wasn't working that well. And they are still, according to him, in the middle of the processes of figuring out what changes to make, at least with the offensive play calling. I don't believe it. I believe a decision has been made. I'll be shocked if they bring Shane Waldron back. I think they're going to fire him. And I think my guess is that they're probably just dotting their I's and crossing their T's on how to get him out of the building. Not physically, not literally, but like with a package, severance package or whatever legally you have to do that. But that's what he said today. And coming up on Wednesday is when he's going to announce it. I would be surprised if it's not Thomas Brown. Thomas Brown is a young and up-and-coming offensive play caller who was the OC in Carolina last year. And remember, that was a coaching staff that they cut bait with very, very quickly. Should I go to Friedel? Friedel called in?
Of course.
I was wondering who was on this line. What do you want?
The last time I was with you two.
Okay.
And I've got to echo, Tyler, if we can fix that. But the last time I was with you two, you guys told me that Ryan Poles was the greatest GM that ever walked. That everything he said had meaning, that he did everything right. He built such a great team.
Nick, you are defining hyperbole at the moment.
And a few weeks later, we know that things are real bad.
Very shaky.
He kept the coach that nobody wanted, aside from maybe Cap, which that should tell you all you need to know right there.
Boom,
no, again, we were on that. We've been on that for a long time. The only thing I was arguing
Everybody knew this guy had to get shuffled.
What I was arguing with you on polls the last time we talked was, you said that they're boring from an entertainment standpoint, and I said just because Ryan Poles is boring, he still, in my opinion, says a lot at times. Now, he's lost me with some of these Hallow things, but that's what we were arguing about.
Right, but the thing I was saying, and it reminds me a lot of the Cutler over love at the beginning, because everybody calls in the last 6 months or so, oh, King Coles, he did it again. He made the greatest trade ever. He's got this team rolling. Oh, my gosh, we're going to win 10 games, 11 games. They beat the worst teams in the league to start the season.
Not anymore.
And now they're playing teams that are worth a damn, and they're terrible.
I long for the days when they could beat a bad team.
Yeah, the bum slaying has stopped.
Uh-huh.
But the O-line that everybody thought might have problems.
Yes.
Serious problems.
Yes.
And then, by the way, you can put any coach in there that you want. Caleb Williams hasn't been good.
He hasn't.
I mean, when you watch him the last few weeks since London, and I can say this because I was sitting there, he's been terrible.
Well, but maybe if he was developed the right way, he wouldn't be as bad.
Maybe so. But you guys just nailed it with Bo Nix looks a lot better.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels looks a lot better.
Who are you taking, Bo Nix or Caleb Williams?
Right now? Bo Nix? Are you kidding me?
So you have a team that you want to take a quarterback, and you're taking Bo Nix over Caleb Williams.
I'm not writing off Caleb Williams. It's not that. He's halfway into his first year. If you told me right now I could have Bo Nix or Caleb Williams, I would take Bo Nix.
Okay.
No hesitation. When you watch where he was in week one and you see where he is now, It's not even close. Now, if Caleb Williams had a line and Caleb Williams had Sean Payton, he'd probably be in a better situation.
Yeah.
But if you said, who would you take right now, given what you've seen? It's not.
Well,
even
this
close.
is what I would
and
say
it
to you,
all
Nick.
goes back to polls.
Okay, if you took both players and dropped them in comparable situations, which player do you believe outperforms the other?
I would say that if you put Bo Nix in this situation, he'd be really bad too.
Right, that's my
what
point.
you
No,
put on
but
tape-
the other way, if you took both of these players and put them in a good situation, which player, even the same situation, put them in, regardless, good, bad, or indifferent, if they were in the exact same situation, which quarterback would you take?
I would still take Bo Nix right now, given what I've seen.
And look,
Caleb
I don't
Williams
blame
has
you. I don't blame
He's
you.
been terrible.
I don't
He has
blame
not
you.
been
He's
good.
been
You're right.
really, really bad. But guys, this is my whole point, and this is I'm not just mad at y'all. I have not seen any topic in 15 years in Chicago where people had just lost the ability to be critical for a second about anything. It was like Poles made that trade, and everybody went, "Oh my God, this team is on it."
It was a
10
good trade.
wins. Roma Dunze. Oh my God, this is going to happen. Tory Taylor in the 4th round. This guy can do no wrong. And I cannot.
Well, yeah. Well,
believe
listen. Now you're
people
lumping
aren't
us.
more
You're
critical
lumping us
now.
all. You're lumping us all in the same category. I've been very critical of how they've addressed their offensive line, especially with a rookie quarterback. I called the drafting of Tory Taylor an arrogant move. It was
Yes,
a move
he
of a
did.
player, of a GM who thought his roster was complete. So, like,
The offensive-
you're just painting with a broad brush right
coach.
now, Nick.
Yeah, is
I know,
we
and,
gotta
I,
let
and
you-
I'm
we-
not saying that it's all you guys. I'm just hearing it every day when I
Okay,
click
well,
on the
pick
app
it up
and I
with
listen to
them.
the station.
You're taking
for
up time from our
months, though, and it's-
callers.
He is
But
one of our
it's
callers.
all
He is
over.
one of
I
our
think
callers.
The thing that if I were a Bears fan, the thing that would piss me off the most from a distance is that he didn't even make the call on Harbaugh. That
Well, I
is
know.
so ridiculous.
Well, he didn't have an
that
opening.
didn't happen.
The reason is
I
because he
can't
was
believe it.
he didn't want to get rid of Eberflus.
Now you're singing our song.
All right, we
But
gotta
is
go.
that, now, wait a minute. You guys have the
No.
answer here. And Sylvia, I'm interested on the Dan Quinn stuff, but is the answer that it was polls, or is it the answer that Kevin Warren
No.
was above polls saying, and the McCaskey saying, we're not bringing Harbaugh in. We're not going to touch him.
Oh, I don't know. I from what I've heard is that Ryan Poles had the autonomy to make the decision on
And wanted to stay with Matt Eberflus.
Yeah.
That was his decision.
I mean, when you make bad hires and you let those bad hires stay in place too long, this is what happens. And it really is the epitaph on Chicago sports for years. And that goes all the way to the top. We've been through that. But I just cannot believe that Poles is not getting more criticism right now, because Eberflus should have been long gone, and Caleb Williams doesn't look anywhere close to where he should be at the moment.
All right, see you, Nick.
Thanks,
for
Nick.
calling.
Yeah, I love you. Goodbye.
Love you. Love you as well.
I would normally rip Nick, but again, the Bears have done this, not Nick. Like, the Bears have made this a discussion where some people are even saying that they would take Bo Nix over Caleb Williams. That's how bad they have taken care of their quarterback. For this to even be a damn discussion, it's not Nick's fault, it's the Bears' fault.
Well, and listen, I don't blame anybody who would circle this all the way back to the general manager, who ultimately has had a say in every one of these decisions. There have been plenty of good decisions that Ryan Poles has made. But to maintain status with the head coach, you can't tell me that Ryan wasn't part of the hiring of Shane Waldron, the offensive line decisions. There's a full list of things that the general manager has to wear as much as the head coach has to.
This is absolutely insane that in less than 3 full weeks,
Yes.
we've gone from Waddle breaking down tape of Caleb Williams
The best
saying
Bears, right?
quarterback that he's ever seen,
Which
in
I
one
stand by
game
that performance.
in London and Jacksonville, to now we've got Nick calling in 3 weeks later saying that he'd take Bo Nix over Caleb Williams.
it's-
This is This is on Eberflus. This is on polls. This
on all of them.
organization. This is organizational
Failure.
Failure.
And I again ask the question, how in the hell did it happen? How did we go from the game that they played against the Jags
Right.
to where we are now?
Why couldn't they deal with success in a week off? Well, by the
I
way,
mean, and it hasn't been a decline. It's been a falling off the cliff.
yes. Can I read you the most Lonzo Ball tweet ever?
Oh, Jesus.
Just on off the beaten path for a second.
He's going to be out for another month.
No, this is from Will Gottlieb. Billy Donovan says either tonight or tomorrow they're going to have Lonzo start dribbling. You know, because he's got
a wrist
thing.
issue, right?
And then the next step will be able to identify a plan depending on how he responds. It just to read that a basketball player is going to start dribbling is funny.
Take a wild guess to where they stand in the Eastern Conference right now. I get it. It's
Middle
only
of the
been
pack.
10 games,
10?
but eighth. That's where they live.
Yeah. Rich in Naperville, you're on ESPN 1000. Hey, Rich.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Well, my biggest problem is like we know that they had a less than mediocre line, and then they lost 60% of them, and then we lost our I guess our nose tackle or whoever it was, Benji. We lost 3 of our defensive backs. How would we expect that we were going to win? The other thing is, if I'm looking at it right now, my question is, what's going to happen next week? And if there is a formation or anything like that, even like this crazy, like you used to do back in the, in the trick days when you had everybody spread out. I mean, how are we going to win this game? That's the only thing I'm worried about right now. How are we going to beat the Packers? So that you guys can tell them what we need to do in order to do that. And why do you put that guy on who I hate?
Who? Who? Nick?
Yes.
Oh, we love Nick. Nick's a good friend.
He is the most negative. I don't care if it's basketball, baseball, football, or whatever. His story is the same.
But
Is his story the same, or is Chicago sports story
Right,
the
I
same?
mean,
No, it's his story is the same.
well,
And a lot of things have to do with people coming here because he says that they hear this stuff on the phone, on the air, and they say, I'm not coming to Chicago. When Chicago thinks of the players like that, I thought he got fired.
I would say if you would come to Chicago as long as a team would pay you handsomely. Nick's commentary is not going to keep you from joining the Bulls or the Bears or anybody else, Rich. That's not going to stop people from taking a free agent contract.
I'm sorry. It's like I heard everything he's saying. I got emotional.
You got very
okay.
Where are you from, Rich? You don't sound like you're from Naperville.
Naperville.
It doesn't sound like you're from Naperville.
I'm Naperville. I've lived in Naperville for years.
Okay, where'd you from originally?
Originally, I was born in Indiana. I lived in Texas. I lived in Boston. Okay, I'm a corporate person that traveled all over.
All right.
I ended up in Chicago.
Very good. All right, Rich. Be kind
Thanks
to
for
Nick.
the call, Rich. We appreciate it. We like the passion. Look, as much as Nick was taking shots at us and lumping us in with people that
I'll go with it. Nick Friedel is the reason why Chicago sports sucks. I'm going with it.
But he's been
insurance.
right. He's been right. He's right about Zach LaVine. He's right about the Bulls.
Stop
the
it.
Bears are 4-5. The Cubs haven't won anything since they disbanded.
Let me take Phil in Rogers Park. He's one of my favorites. Phil, you're on ESPN 1000. What's up?
What's up, guys? Great to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
I don't know what the the explosion is about. Bears are terrific shape. George McCaskey's a great owner. All right, so in reality, I'm gonna rant and I'm gonna be as quick as I can. I don't have the flu line, do I? Because I'm getting some feedback.
No, it sounds
You guys hear
good.
me?
We have an echo with everybody,
Yeah,
but
I
no,
don't know
you
what the
sound
problem
great.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna be as quick as I can here. This is a single issue here. It's an unserious franchise, and it falls directly at the feet of George McCaskey, who's been the chairman for 12 seasons now. They haven't had a playoff win since that time span. They've had 2 winning seasons under his chairmanship. He's an absentee owner. He's an unserious owner. And that's evidenced by the fact that you have callers calling in every hour here talking about what's Trace Armstrong's dealing with the organization. Why do we see Mike Sandow reporting today in The Athletic that because of the presence of Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles, they're not going to hire, when Eberflus eventually gets fired at the end of the year, that they're not going to hire an alpha personality coach like they could have hired with Jim Harbaugh and Mike Vrabel, like a serious organization would have done. But because the Bears are handholders and kumbaya and collaborators, we can't have that. So what ends up happening, Sylvie, and you know this, is you said it. At the end of the last year's press conference, Poles is asked point blank. He goes, "Did you talk to Jim Harbaugh?" And you said it, Sylvie. He said, "Jim Harbaugh is the coach at Michigan. I didn't talk to Jim."
Right.
3 days later, he's in L.A. as a Chargers coach. There are serious franchises, and then there's the Bears. And when I see it, every year, we don't have to keep talking about, is Matt Pryor going to be the left guard on Sunday or the right tackle? It's so nonsense. We should be talking about one thing. As long as George McCaskey is the chairman, as long as the McCaskey family's in charge, nothing will change. We all know this. And it's like, you just want to take the Commanders for a minute. Josh Harris comes in, he invests in the team. He was a minority owner with the Steelers. But, you know, he wasn't George Halas's grandson for 30 years and has been in the organization 30 years. He comes in one season and turns the Commanders into a 7-2 team. And when George is asked about, what are you doing to fix the franchise, he gets on your airwaves and he says, "I'm just a fan." You know, you're not a fan because your grandfather started the NFL and you've been in the organization 30 years. So anybody who expects anything different from the franchise, you're fooling themselves. And so when Mike Vrabel's name comes up this offseason about the head coaching vacancy that the Bears are going to have, you're going to see, maybe they had a conversation, but there is no way in hell he's the Bears coach, and there's no way that Ben Johnson's going to get paid $12 million a year by the Bears.
Oh, more than
because
that.
They're an unserious franchise year after year after year.
No,
so
fair.
That's it.
Yeah. And Ben Johnson's going to get more than $12 million. Your point is very valid, but he's going to get paid more than $12 million.
It wasn't quite as our old friend Ryan Galante, who used to work for us. He worked for the Hawks for many years. He was asking for a Berto-style rant. That wasn't quite a Berto White Sox rant, but that was pretty good. He gave us a good one right there. There was some good stuff in there. What can you bring to the table? 312-332-3776. We'll take more of your calls. We're going to push a good, bad, dirty away. Take more of your calls because we have loaded lines. I got to tell you about the Holiday Parody Song Contest. It is back. There's a lot of material. And wait till you hear about the grand prizes. And there's one detail I didn't give earlier that I must clarify as well. We're also going to be out in Mundelein at Crossroads on Thursday. It's a Miller Lite event. We've got Bears-Lions tickets at Soldier Field. So come on out Thursday, Waddle and me. We're going to be out with the ESPN Chicago Street Team at Crossroads and Mundelein. So up in the northern burbs, if you're up in that area, come out and see us 2:30 to 6:30.